Hey guys, just doing some ditching on this highway reconstruction project. I don't know, somebody had stripped the front slope, like it's supposed to be topsoil. This looks like clay and shit basically, and gravel. But somebody was supposed to strip this so that they could do the road reconstruction sort of project here. And anyway, they didn't really do it properly. They did it with a dozer, but just left track ruts and big low spots for water to collect and all that kind of thing. So now it's just a fucking slough because this is southeastern Manitoba and most years it rains all the fucking time. Or at least, well, I don't know, almost as long as I've been around. So now we got all this trapped rainwater in here. I gotta try and make it drain. Sort of see what I'm dealing with as you look that way. So, you know, it didn't leave a swale or anything for the water to run. And then all these little piles or clumps of dirt, this little ridge all along here, that all collects water. So, I don't know. Some people just don't think, I guess. But sometimes you don't know what some of these foremen do because they expect you to be able to read their mind. Whatever, paid by the hour. So as you can see, I'm kind of smearing it somewhat level, trying to allow it to dry off. I mean, it's just going to be like this all summer, or, you know, until it freezes kind of thing, clumpy and like diarrhea a bit. It'd be nice if we could get 2 months of no rain sort of thing and get things to dry out a little bit, but here, like, I end up with a kind of a pile, so we'll try and smear this all smooth, so even if it's wet and shitty, if it rains again, then all the water that runs off the road can run into the ditch. There's a, oh, it's sort of like a creek, but it's actually called a diversion. It's a man-made creek, and it channels water away from the main little river. It's not really a river, it's a creek, but during floods it can turn into a river. And anyway, it's just another big ditch, and that's where all this water is going to run into once I can get it that far. It actually just runs through a culvert and then into there. So I'm really amazed that they don't have that silk fence all over the place for this. Most of our little rivers and streams in this part of Manitoba are all kind of muddy rivers, i.e. the Red River, Assiniboine River. Fucking shit, man. It's far from perfect. Yesterday I had started doing something like this on the other side of that intersection up ahead, but then I got shit for it. It's not what they wanted. They just want some kind of little plain tickle ditch. And now he kind of wants something. He wanted me to do it all by reaching from the side, but I couldn't reach to the front slope of this other, what would be the northbound lanes here, so I have to go do it through the ditch here. See if he has anything to say about it, if he does check up on me, but I'm going to be doing this all damn day. So hopefully I can get all the way to the end and then I can actually let this water drain properly. I'm kind of on a high spot of mud and shit right here. Where I was working earlier, further up there, it was just a bunch of big pools of water, and so all I did was I would dig a bit of ditch, and as the water was kind of getting squeezed behind the machine, then I would pause for a little bit while I would dig a little think I'll ditch a little trench, let the water run into the ditch, and then I can use the water as my level. So otherwise, normally around in this land here where it's so darn flat, and it's like this for hundreds of kilometers going west or east and north and south actually into the US. They use lasers for the most part. Maybe some places are using GPS, but usually you have a laser for your grade. But you know, you're dealing with fractions of an inch. I mean, sometimes these grades are so subtle, you can't see with the human eye what the grade is, and if it's higher in one place than the other, you can't really tell that. And so, I mean, the water almost just sits there anyways. It doesn't matter how much ditching they do, it's just, you make a deep ditch and the water sits there, and I don't know, if you get too much, it will eventually run somewhere. Yeah. Big deal. So we just kind of use the bottom of the bucket here like a concrete trowel or bricklayer's trowel, and you just kind of smear it all somewhat smooth. Sure, I got these people here on the highway here that are like, what the fuck is he doing down there? But yeah, I try to make things look nice, but I don't know, it seems like when you work for the bigger construction companies, I don't really give two shits. Like, I'm just working for a private guy here, nice guy. So for his sake, I want to do as nice a job as I can. Then, so people give them more calls for work and that kind of thing. Because things are kind of slow in Manitoba these days. Well, we've got flooding out in western Manitoba. Most of it's over, but it's all flooding along Lake Manitoba again. And the province just sits on its arse all the time. They don't really know what to do about all this stuff. And government, I don't know, they just don't seem to have much of a clue, and then when they do say they're going to do something, it takes them many, many years to do it. So, and then any projects, they always award it to all their little special interest groups. Like, we got an NDP government, so they always give everything to all their unions. I have anything against unions, I just gotta allow for fair bidding and tendering, and this government does not do that. Like you might see on other YouTube videos, some guys use V buckets to do ditching with, but here we're usually handling pretty good quantities of water, and the slopes can vary quite a bit. So it's just much easier to use a wrist-a-twist or tilt bucket. Wrist-a-twist actually, I think it was like a brand name for what used to be the Draught company. It became Case, and then it became Badger. Just like Skidoo. People are talking about snowmobiles now, they just call them sleds, even though a sled is something that slides downhill. When you're dealing with a bit of water, it helps keep your bucket clean. It's a lot of fiddle fucking around, but if I can get the water to follow me, then I'm doing good. Some places I kind of do the ditch wide and flat if I've got the space, but I've got quite a bit of dirt here, or mud, so I'm just keeping it narrow. Eventually all this stuff will become the front slope of the road, and the grass will grow on it and nobody will know any different. I'm running pretty much a brand new Cobelco 210 here. I personally really like these machines. A little bit of an underdog, I think. I run lots of Hitachi and John Deere, which is almost the same thing sometimes except for the motor and the paint. I run lots of Caterpillar and I'm kind of fed up with Cat. The last few years I haven't run any of their newer equipment, any of the stuff with Tier 4 requirements, so I don't know what that's like. But this one is a Tier 4 machine. It's got that regeneration feature to it and it's doing it right now, but it doesn't slow down the machine or hinder its operation, so I guess it works. I'm still against it though, I think it's stupid. At least when you come down to stuff like having to add the DEF fluid or these new exhausts like Cat and John Deere use where they actually collect the soot. Should be a better way of burning it off or something, just like a catalytic converter, so you don't even ever have to interfere with the thing. You know, like with a car, you never have to add DEF fluid with a gasoline engine or anything like that. It just goes through a catalytic converter, and eventually you have to replace a catalytic converter if you keep the car long enough, but whatever. Sure is a nice machine though. 36-inch wide track, so it's, you know, configured for working in the swamp. AMI tilt bucket, not too bad. I like this kind of back piece on it. It's sort of like you have on a front loader bucket, and then you don't get too much dirt that interferes with the tilt pins and that kind of thing. The hydraulic cylinders to me look a little small, but maybe it's just because the bucket's kind of big-ish looking. They're double acting. Yeah. Got some other videos from my summer vacation to upload yet. My wife and I were out in Alberta and BC, and when we were in BC, we went and rode on a couple of steam trains. And I don't know, I really like going out there. It's too bad there's not more work or it's more affordable living. Such a beautiful country, and it's all hilly and mountainous. Whereas here it's flat as a fucking plane. The only time it's pretty is when everything's green in the summer. Otherwise, I think it's butt-ass ugly in the winter. Not sure when we're going to move to Alberta. We're talking next year. We have to see what the work situation is like out here. And my wife has a good teaching job, so kind of hard to leave that. I think 3-4 weeks our first kid will be born. Don't know if it's a girl or a boy yet. When we went for the ultrasound, you only get one in this province because they're so fucking cheap. Little baby there wasn't showing if he had a dingling or a hoopah. The twig and berries. I'm hoping the little one eventually likes trains, because technically the baby's already been on 2 steam engines, so, well, 2 steam powered trains. mud piles or anything like that, so I try to move the minimum amount of dirt, smear it, just kind of smear it smooth like this, and then direct it all down to the bottom there, so at least the water will follow it. Maybe this job site will get a chance to dry out. They're talking about rain tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday, so I won't be here. Hopefully I can get this done by the end of the day. It's already 11:15 and I probably got, I don't know, must be half a mile to go. Typically how we do ditching here, except usually ditch bottom is a bucket width, and usually the buckets are 66 inches wide or 5'6", whatever the metric equivalent is. We don't use V buckets or anything like that. Ditches are usually pretty wide. Carry quite a bit of water sometimes, like when we get real wet summers. This summer's wet, but not real wet. Unless you live in western Manitoba, then it's really wet there. They had 7 inches of rain, and then one day or something like that, or 2 or 3 days. I can't remember what it was. I wasn't in the province at the time, thankfully. Stuff smells so good. Hopefully this video turns out. I just use a suction cup mount for the GoPro and put it on, attached it to the windshield, the inside of it here. Okay, let's see. Sorry if I jerked the camera around or anything. There we go. See if I got a flat place to jump down. Oh yeah, not too squishy. So there you go. That's the Kobelco SK210. A real nice machine. And that's the ditch. And that's the shit pile. And there goes a shit tanker. It's pretty shitty. Talk to you guys later.